Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Sherianna Boyle, who's here to share with us her new book, Energy in Action: The Power of Emotions and Intuition to Cultivate Peace and Freedom. So welcome to the show, Sherianna Boyle.
Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here.
Well, I'm so glad we get to spend time together again. I heard about this book and knew we needed to talk. So, energy in action, what's this all about?
Well, energy in action is how I define manifesting. So that is the definition that I use, energy in action. But I'm not talking about energy on the outside, Marianne. I'm speaking about energy on the inside. So it's actually our inner energy, our energy in motion, which happens from consciousness and awareness. That's when we get energy. We get energy when we're present. We get energy when we're connected. It starts to move when we're in motion. We get energy when we're connected to our purpose, or we feel aligned with something. We might find movement of energy there. So I call that inner space energy in action. And then the message of the book of Energy in Action is that's the quality of inner space that you want to manifest from. And a lot of times what can happen is we want to manifest, but we do it from the inner space of reactivity, which is not energy in motion. That's energy which is being either suppressed, oppressed, or constricted.
Well, that sounds absolutely fabulous to get into this place where you can use that energy. So, for people who are probably new to this, how is this different from manifesting?
At least the way that I interpreted some of the teachings around, or the takeaways perhaps that I took, was that it was heavily focused on thoughts, that you have to change your thoughts to manifest what it is that you want to draw into your life. And if your listeners who don't know who I am, this is my 10th book, Energy in Action. And before that, I wrote several books about emotions. You interviewed me, Marianne, for those. And I developed a system called CLEANSE, which is an acronym for the 7 steps for emotional processing. So it's 7 mindful steps that you can take through. You can go through that process in less than 10 minutes if you choose to, or you can make it a little bit longer. But nonetheless, the process is about learning how to process your emotions without talking about them. So I've been doing that with clients and writing about it in many of my previous books for many, many, many years. And I've learned that once you start processing your emotions, your thoughts change automatically. It's really fascinating the way it happens. So you can have a conversation and you can say, okay, well, this is bothering me, or this is getting in my way, or this is what I want to manifest. And then you go through a process of processing what you feel and anything that's coming up along the way, because there's a lot of reactivity around feelings. And then in the end, all of a sudden you have a new perspective and the thoughts have been completely converted for you. So I thought to myself, that's interesting. Why are we teaching people to focus on the thoughts or change the thoughts when it happens quite effortlessly? And then what's very cool is you've done all this emotional processing. So you've landed in this space of non-attachment, which is what the spiritual laws teach us about. So that's how I was always receiving the laws. Perhaps they weren't being taught that way, but I felt like there were mentions of feeling, and I felt like there were assumptions that people already knew how to feel their feelings, how to process their feelings. And what I've learned is many people don't know how to do that. And what they think they're doing is they're actually reacting or managing in the form of managing or controlling them or minimizing. So I find in this approach, it can clear up a lot of that confusion, and it feels a little bit to me, and my clients tell me they like it, more fluid in terms of, okay, how do we line up with these spiritual laws and energy and action? That's how this book differs from all the other books that I've written, is about the 13 spiritual laws of the universe. That's the foundation, and how to align and harmonize ourselves with them. Because I believe, after writing Energy and Action, that they are a guidance system for processing our emotions.
I find that so fascinating. I know in your book, you talk about these different laws of the universe, and we won't go into all of them, but you also talk about the rays of light. What is that, and how does that incorporate in all this?
Yeah, that was an interesting twist to everything, Marianne. So again, I've been processing emotions for years and years. And at this point, I've written, again, many books on it. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to get information on sort of the evolution of this cleanse. So it's fluid. So I think of the cleanse as I gave birth to the cleanse, the system, and then it grows up, right? Like a child. It starts in its infancy and it goes through development. And now it's at the stage of development where I'm teaching people how to incorporate the rays of light, which I've been working with for years, because I'm also trained as a master quantum healer. I know that's a lot of words to a lot of people. Basically just says that I dedicated many, many years of my life to trainings that were building on each other. And then I got a certification. And so what ended up happening with Energy and Action, which is interesting, is I incorporated the rays, Marianne, because I find that reactivity has gone up. And I think everyone agrees. In the last few years, the levels of reactivity have heightened. And understandably, we went through a pandemic. There's been so many changes. A lot of people have a lot of uncertainty, a lot of systems that maybe perhaps they weren't the best systems, but they were systems that are now being uprooted and changed. And a lot of people get anxiety from when they don't know what's next or something isn't familiar. And so it sometimes feels like so much is happening, so much is changing at once. And so I thought to myself, it's almost like I got to up the ante here, because asking people to just feel, sure, we can teach those tools, and I've been teaching them and they work, but we almost have to now call upon, and that's where the rays of light come in. This frequency is going to blend into the cleanse, because people really need that support to be able to hold energy on this planet right now. So what I've done is every single spiritual law, so there's 13 spiritual laws in Energy and Action, and I've coupled them intuitively with a ray of light. So there's 13 rays of light. And people who aren't familiar with the rays of light, is they're based on ancient text, the Vedas, referred to the Vedas, and the spiritual laws of the universe are based on very, very ancient Old Egypt. I mean, we're going back before Moses. And if you go far enough back, you can find these teachings before they were impacted by politics or religion. I mean, they were really never meant to be housed with one religion or under one umbrella. They were meant just as information for everybody. So every single law has a ray of light, and it's a wonderful tool. So I ended up creating sort of a system, and we could play with that system if you'd like, Marianne, just to kind of give it more structure.
Oh, yes. I think that'd be fun.
Okay. So let's see. Let's check in. Would you want to be sort of a little bit of a guinea pig here?
Sure. Why not?
Are you up for it? Okay.
I'm up for it.
All right. So, but and if people are driving, and I know many of you are probably driving, so obviously keep your eyes on the road. but we're just going to, everybody take a nice deep breath. So take an inhale through your nose, nice and full, fill up your lower belly. And we're going to start in that first step of the cleanse, which is the C, which is clear reactivity. These are very brief, doing what I can do if you're driving. So just breathe in for 1, 2, belly out, 3, pause a little bit, and then release for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just start to breathe. Go into the next breath. Inhale 1, 2, 3, a little bit of a pause, and exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then perhaps move your head and neck around a little bit, Marianne, kind of loosen up any tension in the body. Let the body know that it's safe. Let the body know that all is well. Just kind of move around, even stretch your body. And then I want you to repeat after me, Marianne, and anyone who's listening can say it out loud. And this is the L in look inward and cleanse. Say how I feel in my body right now is.
How I feel in my body right now is.
And then you're going to inhale and exhale. Don't answer the question. Just breathe in and breathe out. And one more time, Marianne, say it again. How I feel in my body right now is.
How I feel in my body right now is.
Okay, take a nice deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Okay. All right. And then you and I are going to do the next step of the cleanse, which is emit. It's the E. We're going to do a little hum. You can mute, Marianne. You don't have to have everybody hear you hum, but I will hum. Okay. So it's, we're going to inhale together. And it's hum. And everyone, she's muted, which is great. Marianne, I want you to hum any feelings of feeling rushed. Okay. I'd love you to hum anything, any areas of your life where you feel a little, sometimes when I start processing emotions, my intuition goes up. And by the way, that's part of energy in action, the power of emotions and intuition. You will naturally become more intuitive when you process emotions. I'm hearing pinched for time, like pinched, like just pinched, right? So it's nothing dramatic, but do you often feel like you're like pinched for time?
I do.
Do you say that? Do you say I'm in a, like, do you have that energy? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that can be a thing. You know?
That can be a thing. Like I'm pinched for time. Okay. So let's take another deep breath and do the hum. And I just want you to clear the reaction, which is coming in the form of a thought, everyone. So another reason why not a big fan of focusing on your thoughts for manifesting, because thoughts are often triggers, not truth. So I don't really believe in trying to change a trigger. Right. So we're going to take a nice deep breath. If everyone feels pinched for time, right? That's just a light pinch. We're going to inhale and exhale, hum. Inhale. Okay. Marianne, just relax into that, and everybody else relax into that. Kind of loosen up. Just feel like you're loosening up your body, loosening up your skin, loosening up kind of like loosening your shoelaces, feeling a little wiggle room here. Okay. Felt a little tight. And then all of a sudden you unbutton your jacket or something. So Marianne, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and then tell me what color pops into your mind. And it's got to be a pop, like just automatic. Don't think about it. So take a deep breath. And what color pops in?
Yellow.
Ooh, okay. So I've got this really cool, by the way, everybody listening, I have this I made a bookmark for energy in action. It has everything on there that you're going to need to work with this book. So yellow is the ray of light that I put with the law of attraction. Okay. So what that says is a couple of things, and let's just take a breath. I want you to connect to the yellow ray of light now. Kind of imagine it, feel it, imagine it above the crown of your head. Feel the energy of the yellow ray of light. See if you can kind of start to get to know it. The more you work with it, the more you recognize it's a form of energy. Yellow carries a vibration of resilience. It carries a vibration of inner strength. It carries courage, and it carries manifesting potential. And again, I put it with the law of attraction. And if you think of yellow, it's very expansive, right? We think of the sun. It's expansive. It's powerful. It's connected. It can change everything. And one moment the sun pops out and everything can feel different. Your whole mindset can shift. So allow that yellow to come in and let it wash over you like the rays of the sun and just shift your whole mindset, your whole everything. Just let it give you a little bit of a like, whew, like it's almost like magical, like it's just whisking it away, Marianne. And I bet you can do that. Use that yellow light and just that whole idea that you're in a pinch, just kind of let that yellow ray of light move it and just kind of whisk it away. And then take in that yellow ray of energy. And here's the other part about energy in action that's different from perhaps other teachings on manifesting or books is I believe in taking these rays of light, bringing them into your body, bringing them into the cells, and offering them to Mother Earth. So we're like a conduit. We are a channel. And as this energy goes through us and we down into Mother Earth, then so many people who also feel pressed for time, in a pinch, kind of jammed, constricted by time, may also receive the beautiful blessings of the yellow ray, which are all about the expansion, which is completely opposite than being pressed for time. So take that in and then repeat after me, Marianne, and say, I allow.
I allow.
Expansion.
Expansion.
I allow.
I allow.
Inner strength.
Inner strength.
I allow.
I allow.
Resiliency.
Resiliency.
I allow.
I allow.
Support.
Support.
I allow.
I allow.
Manifesting potential.
Manifesting potential.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. Everybody take a deep breath after that. So I can serve her food, everyone, but I can't make her eat it, right? So she has to allow it. She has to choose it. The I allows are now we're in the next step of the cleanse. She has to want it. She has to receive it, and which she is, of course. And now we're going to land. We come into that nice soft landing, which is the E, which is ease and cleanse. And repeat after me, Marianne, say, I am.
I am.
I am inner strength.
I am inner strength.
I am courage.
I am courage.
I am expansion.
I am expansion.
I am resilience.
I am resilience.
I am courage.
I am courage.
I am powerful.
I am powerful.
And I am manifesting potential.
And I'm manifesting potential.
And then take a nice deep breath. Take an inhale. And just release. And just really water down. Each time you move through a cleanse, it's like you're watering down an attachment, right? You're loosening the grip. In this case, we're loosening the grip on time. We're loosening the grip on the, I can't even say it anymore because it's all loosening, right? So it's as you move through these practices and you're consistent and you really take it in like a hydration, being dehydrated, which we all can benefit from this. It's not bad or wrong. It's just a higher vibrational energy that is here to assist all of us on the planet and line Marianne. So, Marianne, how do you feel?
Well, I definitely feel lighter. That made a huge difference. I can feel it.
Okay, you feel lighter, and anything else that you notice and observe and feel?
More grounded and more present.
Awesome. More grounded and more present. Excellent. This is the space where Marianne wants to manifest from? Well, first of all, we're always manifesting something. It's just a matter of where we're putting our attention. Now she's putting it on grounded. Now she's noticing grounded. Now she's observing grounded. She's observing calm. And so she's naturally going to line up now with this law of attraction. By the way, all the other laws influence everything. And, imagine doing that once a day before you start your day and really, really taking it in. So that's how this energy in action works. And I've put in 52 cleanse practices so people don't have to figure it out. It's all there for them. And it's going to just spark, okay, this is how I relate to that cleanse. Just like we all relate to you, Mary. I think everybody can relate to being pressed or pinched for time. But do you feel like less pressed or pinched for time now? How's your...
I definitely don't feel stressed about it.
Okay.
So, which
Good.
is a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're releasing, it's starting to releasing the grip, and letting it flow. Letting it flow. Because the reality is we don't have control, right, Marianne?
I wish, right? No, maybe I don't.
We really don't. We think we can manage everything and we've got all our ducks in a row and everything is going to go exactly as planned today. But guess what? There could be a holdup somewhere, right? There could be a detour somewhere in our day. And that's just an illusion. And the laws teach us that, the laws are timeless. The rays of light are timeless. They come from infinite. The spiritual laws were based on infinite source of energy. And so much of at least in my experience of the teachings around the laws are so focused on the finite, right? The limited. And so when we over focus on the physical, and I'm not saying don't shoot for I want to manifest the love of my life, or I want to manifest money. And I get it. I'm not telling you not to do that anymore. What I am saying is that will all come. That will come with effortless and ease, whatever that you're nurturing, whatever you're feeding, whatever with the movement of energy, if that's what you're going to put your attention on, but do in a way that feels inviting, that feels authentic, that feels aligned. So if you're interested in, hey, I really want to manifest a new car, once I'm in this space, I might be curious about cars in this space, because you notice how this inner energy where I'm present, it allows for curiosity. It allows for intuition. Like, hey, I kind of feel like I want to drive somewhere today. And then all of a sudden you're somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, I just saw a car for sale. I think I'll get out of my car and check out what that's about. Next thing you know, you're buying the car. Next thing you know, you're driving away. Like that's how true manifesting works, in my opinion.
Well, it's this just gracious, beautiful flow with everything.
Yeah, it is. It's a flow. Doesn't it feel good, Marianne, when something feels natural? It's kind of like there's just some things you can't force. And
yeah, I understand that. You can't make a sunset appear.
Yeah, or a connection or a chemistry, or there's some things you just got to let it unfold. But I do believe that it will happen more easily when we take time each day to process our emotions. And as you know, in my previous interviews with you and all of my work with emotions, I have some really solid beliefs on that. So, and I'll call them mottos. And I believe that all emotions are good so long as they're processed. All emotions are good. That means guilt, shame, fear, anxiety. They're all good so long as they're processed. It's when we leave them unprocessed and suppressed in the body that they wreak havoc on us. And then we call them anxiety or we call them depression, but maybe, perhaps it's just your intuition is knocking on your door saying, look, hello, this is not the way. There's a different route that you're meant to be on. So part of what I believe a big part of manifesting has to do with feeling.
In your book, you share about how that energy and action amplifies our ability to receive higher guidance. And I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that.
So once you hit that state, which you just explained, you said how you felt, and it was all about feeling. It wasn't what you thought, it was what you feel. And when you're in that feeling state, then I've seen it over and over because I can test energy when I work with clients. I have all these methods of kind of checking in with their energy centers, which we call chakras. And it's amazing how things start to move, things start to line up. I test it and I see it moving, or I test myself and I see it moving, or I feel it moving. And I know it's an ideal time to ask questions or to ask for guidance or support. And it's a matter of that, then it evolves to the next level. And that is, okay, how do I ask for guidance? How do I ask for support? And then more importantly, how do I listen to it? And that I also speak about in the book, these qualities that you need to really foster and nurture in yourself to be able to receive it, because it's there for all of us. We're all intuitive beings. We are spiritual beings first. And I believe it's our most natural state when we're connected. It's kind of like food, where you have the raw food and it's got the most nutrients when it's raw, when it's organic, when it's pure. It's the best for us. But the moment it is tainted with pesticides, then it changes. It's not as good for us. So it's kind of like, I look at emotions the same way, that if they're pure, they're raw, what happens is they get tainted. They get tainted by thoughts, beliefs, fear, anxiety. And a lot of what I say, what we're calling emotions, is actually a reaction. You're asking me about the intuitive piece that comes with being able to ask and then being able to receive. And the laws teach us that there's actually a spiritual law of giving and receiving. So there's a balancing there, that even when we become more intuitive, we can kind of check in and notice and then receive that internal guidance. And again, it's about building inner strength, which is about building trust. So when the inner guidance comes, which it will come, you have to be solid 100%. And that means if everyone else is telling me to go right, but the universe is telling me to go left, I go with my gut. I go left. But that takes strength, that takes inner strength, and that takes courage, that takes guts, that takes vibration. And that's where these cleanses and these rays can help.
I should have known better having this time with you and having that energy. Should have known better. But no, I'm glad, because my goodness, I mean, how many people are pressed for time or feel like there's just not enough time in a day to do something, and to get to a place where you can work through that. I mean, what a gift that is.
Yeah. So why don't we take a hum, Marianne, because we're in the state. So let's take advantage of it, and let's just you can do your mute. That's fine. I'll do the hum. And let's just see if there's any guidance that we can get here. Because again, when you cleanse like this on a regular basis, you will be able to tap in. And I have clients that do. They'll say, I tapped in and here's what I got. Or sometimes they'll say, I'm having trouble tapping in. Can you give me a little support? And I do that. But so let's just take a nice deep breath, because we're talking about the press for time, which I think is a wonderful thing for everybody here. So let's everybody inhale. And we're in that beautiful yellow light. So still here. We're going to inhale through your nose, a nice hum. Hum. Okay. And everybody soften and relax your body, relax your breath. So the message I'm getting is there's got to be a little bit more of a buffer, meaning a little bit more space. And I've had to learn this in my work. And whoever needs to hear this, this is for you. You can't be back to back, right? You've got to have buffers in terms of little space to be able to digest things, to be able to, so more buffers in our life, a little bit of time just to take an exhale, right? So if we can build in little areas of our lives where we can take a moment, just close our eyes, be present, feel our feet on the ground, increasing the buffers or the quality of the buffer. If you feel like there's no room for more buffers, then perhaps the way that you take in that time, because a lot of people in the in-between times of their day, we'll call it transition times, if you will, then it's like nonsense. It's like checking their phone, or they're just kind of managing the fact that they have the space, and it's almost like they manage the space. Does that make sense, Marianne?
Oh, it sure does. And I'm sure everyone knows what that's like. It could be something as simple as, I just saw this the other day, when I'm at a restaurant waiting for a table, instead of engaging with the people around you, everyone's like on their phones. And it's just so interesting.
They're managing the space.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm hearing is space is not meant to be managed, and it's space. Enjoy it. That's the law of attraction. The law of attraction is about expansion. And if we're managing those moments of just space, we're just blocking. So that's how it works, Marianne, in terms of, I say, if once you get to that space where Marianne was describing of being in that presence, then take an extra moment, perhaps to ask for a little guidance. And it could be anything. I mean, I think we all can say, okay, Spirit, how can I, what can I do to help? So I'm not always so, on the go kind of thing. And it's amazing how it just kind of can come to you. But again, that these things take practice. Also, the brain, that's why the cleanse is the same steps every time. And it's also 7, because it takes time to get out of the fight or flight. I mean, the first 3 steps are getting you out of fight or flight. And then we're going into the real meat of it. And then we're ending in the I am. Because like I said, we can serve all the food we want, but you're the one who's going to eat it in the end. And that means you choose it. But the message from today, from this show, is if you are managing the space, then you want to watch that. And that might be that you have to put your phone in a place where you can't touch it. Take it out of your, they say there's research on this, that just having it on the table, I'm sure you've heard this, interferes with communication and connection. Just having it on the table, not ringing or checking, just the presence of a cell phone on the table is managing the space non-verbally.
That's just so insane when you think about it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. It's almost like that phone is in charge of the dynamics between the people. And it's like any second, well, first of all, it's a trigger, right? Because it reminds us that we have to check it, that we haven't checked it. And again, it's a way to manage the space. So I think the first step is perhaps just put it out of reach, out of view, and see how that feels. Baby steps, because this will be a lot for some people. Some people, it's very addictive to be on our phones.
So what if somebody, we're spending this time and you're so intuitive, and thank goodness we're able to pick the topic and run with it. What if somebody doesn't feel like they're intuitive or know exactly what it is that they're feeling? How can they identify that?
Well, that's why I love this system, Marianne, because you were able to see a color, right? And I said to you, first thing that pops in your head, right? You didn't think about it, Marianne. Did it just pop?
It just popped.
Yeah, that's intuition. So when you get book. So what I do is I sit down every morning and I I have my book next to me. I always keep it in the same spot so that I don't have to go looking for it. So I recommend that. I recommend that you have a spot, number one, a spot where you're going to sit and get grounded. That's so important to developing intuition, just developing a bit of a ritual. I have two. I have one that I do alone. And because my husband wakes up a little later than I do, I go back. I do a couple things and then I go back and I wake up pretty early. So it's still pretty early at this point. And I sit with him. And it's just a ritual. We sit together just for a couple minutes, no phones. We just sit. And a lot of times we don't even talk. We just sit and we're quiet. But so the first step is you have to have something, an anchor, a way to just ground. And so when I'm in by myself, I sit down. There's my book is always there. I don't have to look for it. And then I start to pick up the bookmark. I take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and I ask the universe, okay, what law should I focus on today? Right? What law is looking for me to align today? And I just take a deep breath, inhale and exhale. Sometimes I hum, sometimes I don't. I just breathe. And then I hold the bookmark in my hand and I just kind of run my hand up and down. All the laws are there. And if you don't have the bookmark, you can do the table of contents. And then I just kind of land. So I land on the law that's on the bookmark. I open up the book to that law because every chapter is one law and every chapter has the corresponding ray of light. And I read what that law is about. And even though I know this, there's something maybe that needs to be brought to my attention. I read it. I notice how I relate to that, whatever it says. And then I do one of the cleanses under that law and take myself through the process. And it's always amazing to me how I can relate whatever's happening in that present day or on my mind. And again, emotional processing, you will become more intuitive. And I think sometimes that's like the whole point of emotional processing. I think we've kind of missed it. We all think of it like, oh, process your emotions so you can have better mental health and and emotional IQ. But I think we're all supposed to really be able to tap into our higher intuitive abilities because it's closer to who we are as spirit. And the laws tell us that. If it's the lower we go in vibration, the more finite we become. But when we connect to the spiritual self, then there's unlimited, infinite possibilities. And that is tapping into your higher intuition and following your higher guidance. So the wonderful masters, and again, these laws were initially, they were oral teachings only. They were not written down until 1908. So by the time they were written down, of course, they've been sort of tainted just like everything else. But if you go back as best you can to go to those original teachings, like the ancient civilization of the Upanishads, I mean, they were just really incredible. This is like a technology that they wrote down that they provided for us. And so we go back to the purest, highest self. And by the way, the rays of light are like qualities of God that when I know we were talking about like inner strength, but think of it like, don't think of it like inner strength in the physical, like, self-esteem, confidence. We're talking, you have to magnify that. I'm talking inner strength from the experience of the infinite source. That's a whole different ballgame, that inner strength. And that is the kind of inner strength. If you really tap into infinite inner strength from source energy, man, you are going to feel on top of the world and you're going to feel very protected And I think that's so important right now in our world because so many people feel unprotected and unsafe. So I believe it comes from these higher realms. And these are the technologies that were passed on that can help us access it.
So, do you have courses that people can take or events that you do where they can be part of a community or at least, take a course by themselves and have a little bit more follow through?
Yes, I do. And this, it's funny you asked this, Marianne, because I've never written a book and a course in the same. I always do the book and then down the road do the course. This was the first time that I did that because the information just kept coming and I didn't have a place for it because normally I'm getting these intuitive downloads and I'm just pushing it in the book, flushing it out, putting it in the book, putting in the book. But after the book was written, I was like, I'm still getting so much information about these laws and these rays. These are like activations. So I wrote a course. It's called Energy in Action. It's completely self-guided. And I needed to do it that way because I had to wait for the intuitive hit that it was even time to download that specific activation. So I'd say to myself, okay, well, this is the next one. And I'll just know when it's time. And I would just wait until that whatever was energy was in action. And then I felt aligned. And it was like, okay, this is the day that I'm going to record that activation. So it was organic. It was in the process. So that's also on sheriannaboyle.com if people want to download that course. And it's not even a download. It's you get access. So you don't have to put anything on your computer. We've designed it so you can get access to the course, just get like the passcode and all that. And it's all on my website being held for people there.
So, when you were really kind of, it sounds like in some ways channeling this information, were you able to see the lights and the colors come through that correspond with the different topics?
Yes. Yeah. I asked on every single one, okay, which law goes with which light? And I would double check. And it's really amazing how they work well with each other. But yes, I knew that that it was going to come together. I didn't know which one with each one because there's a lot of controversy out there as well. So I had to sort of, again, that intuition. At some point, I had to let go of what I was seeing because so many different channelers and things like that have given their take on things and just go with what I was getting and try my best to keep it as pure as possible.
So, what was that process like as you're getting this information? Were you double checking with your guides or just doing a self check in? How did that work?
Yeah. So I was doing it the entire time I was writing the book. I was constantly checking, saying, okay, this feels right. And it's interesting because this book, Energy in Action, had an entirely different title. And I had pitched it. And then in the first or second paragraph of the book, it says how I define manifesting energy in action. And the publishers, when I pitched it, said, oh my gosh, you define manifesting as energy in action. I was like, yeah, I mean, you don't see it that way. And it was kind of interesting because they didn't really have that viewpoint. It's like, yeah, it's about your inner energy is moving, not about the outside. The outside is a reaction. And that's where we get the attachment because we overfocus on what's happening outside of us. And thoughts tend to focus on what's outside of us. So they were like, oh, this is so cool. You got to change the name of the book. I was like, okay. First, I kind of got my ego in the way and said, I don't know. It's supposed to be this. But then eventually I had to respect my team members because they've so much wonderful experience. I said, okay, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to do what the laws teach us. And so anyway, became energy in action. And then I started getting new downloads. As soon as that name change, it was like I had to rewrite the entire thing. I just looked at it and I said, okay, I'm getting a different feeling now. And so it was a lot of work, Marianne, put it that way. It was a lot of work. I didn't expect to do round 2. I thought round 1 was pretty good, but I understand. And I'm really glad I did round 3 or round 2. It probably was like a round 3. And then of course the downloads for, yeah, I mean, in terms of what it's been like, I have a really strong relationship with my guides. I feel that I've become more open, and I've always been pretty open. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me, Marianne, because I realized as much as I was open, there was still some conditioning that needed to be cleared in terms of God and spirit and, all that kind of stuff. And in the end, I could really feel the energy from these different rays. So every ray is overseen by a spiritual master and an archangel. There's different frequencies that oversee them on different levels. And I think I've just really opened up a doorway, probably going to write another book all on that experience, to be honest with you, Marianne, because it's starting to really get strong. And I'm just really interested, quite frankly, about getting very clear for people on the different masters and how to communicate with them.
Well, I was so impressed in your book. You really talk about how this is developing a relationship with our guides and angels as opposed to just asking them for things. I thought, oh my goodness, don't we all need that?
Yeah. Yeah. I describe in the book as sometimes we turn to our guides and archangels because, we want something, right? And it's just that's not what manifesting is about. It is a relationship. It is a connection. There's mutual respect there. The laws, I want to be clear, they do have an ethics to them. I found they do have a sense of morality in themselves. They didn't need religion to be poured on top of them. That they were already based on high moral standards in terms of energy, in terms of frequency. So it's not, I know sometimes it feels a little airy fairy, floaty, there's not a lot of structure. But what I found in my research, and I'm continuing to research and get to know and appreciate it, is they very much were founded on and a lot of integrity, that is these laws, the universe, they're universal principles, honor, integrity, respect, all of that. And we need that because it provides that foundation. It provides a structure and it creates a stability in us that I think that we need to be able to feel safe and to be able to let our guard down and connect to each other. There's got to be sort of this, and help us go to that space of oneness, which that spiritual law talks about, that in the end, well, not even in the end now, we really are one big, we are all connected. And when we start to separate from each other, then we're really disconnecting from the spiritual laws.
Well, we could talk all day, and that's never been our problems.
No.
Yeah, I want to congratulate you because I know today's the day that your book's released. It's such a fabulous book, Energy in Action. Where can our listeners connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about your book?
Sure. So they can connect with me at sheriannaboyle.com. There you'll find everything. You'll find the book. You'll find the Energy in Action course. You'll find the bookmark that you can grab right away, and you can start to work with these laws and work with the rays of light. And the book makes it really simple and easy to digest and to replicate.
Well, Sherianna, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you. And what an honor that I'm launching today with you, Marianne. So that's really means a lot to me. And I'm sure that the guides, had something to do with this.
Well, thank you, Sherianna. It has been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Energy in Action. Energy in Action's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. And if you don't see it on the shelf, just ask for them to order it. And of course, remember to support our indie bookstores. You can also purchase this book from the publisher Sounds True at soundstrue.com. Make sure to visit Sherianna's website at sheriannaboyle.com. On that note, we're going to pause here for a quick moment, and we'll be right back after these messages. I'd like to thank Jason Eastwood at Guitarfulness for sharing his inspiring music and talent with us. His music is known worldwide for cultivating atmospheres of harmony, inner peace, and clarity. Visit Jason's website at guitarfulness.com. Join his newsletter, be part of his community, and download his music. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Marianne, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Marianne is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Marianne will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmarianne.com for more information.